Hello, and welcome to Regrets I've Had a Few. I'm Paul Hunter, Artistic Director of Told by an Idiot, and this is a podcast where I talk to friends and colleagues delving into what made them the person they are today. Hello, and welcome. My guest this month is an award-winning lighting designer who has created a critically acclaimed body of work both nationally and internationally. Working across theatre, opera and dance, her work is eclectic, collaborative and highly atmospheric, and I'm very delighted to say we continue to collaborate together with our Told by an Idiot projects. Welcome, Aideen Malone.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, I'm going to do something I don't normally do because you are a first in many ways, Aideen, because we've never had a lighting designer on the show. So I wanted to ask, diving deep in at the deep end, maybe a tricky question. What do you think the qualities are that a good lighting designer needs?
Right. All my qualities, of course. It's a good question. It is a good question. Straight in there.
Yeah.
I think they need to be a very good collaborator. I think they need to be a very good listener and a good observer. And I think they need to be able to pull a lot of different thoughts and departments together. Because I do feel like, so they need to be able to string a lot of things together and pull a lot of different elements together. Need to be quite patient and have nerves of steel because the tech process is really can be quite enduring and testing, and need to be quite calm, I think, because for me, the tech is the most exciting period, but it's actually the most time restrictive period as well. But it is quite exciting getting in a room with a bunch of people. I think they're the qualities.
It's interesting when you say things I picked up on then were calmness, nerves of steel, and I sometimes think when I think about yourself and lighting is sometimes it feels like you're obviously in the room, you're watching rehearsals, you're talking to loads of different people, but it often feels like you're waiting for your work to happen. Does it feel like that sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, we have to hold a lot of stuff in our heads.
Yeah.
And because we can pre-visualize stuff on a computer, but it's not the same as reality, and you have to pump in a bunch of haze in order to see stuff. So it's not the same, but it's a useful tool. But you're right, we're in the room, we're putting, plans together, we're putting images together, thoughts, and just how the show might look. But you're right, you have to hold a lot of stuff in the head and hope that and rely on that and hope that then works when you go into the theatre. But what I do try to do is I do talk and show images and show stuff, even if they're quite abstract images, just so that there's conversations and I know that I'm on the right road aesthetically in relation to the world of the piece. But yes, we do have to, we can't really do what we do until we're in the theatre, and that's the time when it's quite expensive to be in the space.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So yes, we do have to hold and wait.
Well, we'll talk more about that specifically, but what I'd like to do is what I often do with guests is take them back to the beginning, and by that I mean your first experience of seeing theatre, whether that was with school or with the family, and what effect or impact, if any, it had on you.
I think the first place I went to the theatre was, so I grew up in Laois, which is between Dublin and Cork. And I went to Dublin with my cousins to see Maureen Potter in a pantomime in the Olympia in Dublin. And Maureen Potter is a legendary Irish comedian, actor, performer. I mean, just an amazing woman, no longer with us, unfortunately. But and I just remember, I don't remember, it was pantomime, I know that, but I don't remember exactly what the show was or the characters, but I just remember being so bowled over by her and how amazing she's a really strong, interesting, funny woman on stage. And then her interaction with the audience, I was going, wow, this is cool. What is this? This is a bit of magic. So that would be my first. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how old would you have been, Aideen?
I probably was about 9 or 10.
Okay.
And I didn't go with the family; it was with my cousins. So, and it's funny because when I mentioned that in a previous interview, and my family came back to me going, "When did you go to Maureen Potter? We didn't go to Maureen Potter."
It was a revelation that you'd been to Maureen Potter, a family revelation. But I was reading somewhere that you said you grew up in quite a musical household. Is that right?
Yeah. No, there was always. I mean, to be honest, the town that I grew up in, a little town called Rathdowney, the amount of talent there was in that town was quite amazing. Really, a lot of music talent and a lot of storytelling. A lot of performers on stage. But in my house, there was always a guitar hanging around. There was a piano. We were always doing music. Anytime we had family gatherings, we always had a sing song. And both my parents sung, and most of the family sing or play an instrument. And my mother's parents were amateur operatic singers.
Oh wow!
So it was so it was quite fun. But it was and I learned to play the guitar like most of us. And
do you still play?
I do. I'd like to play more, but I can still I can still play. But it sits there a lot and looks at me going, "Come on." But I think also the thing that when I went to school, when I went to secondary school, we did a musical every year. And that was my first taste of actually being on stage.
And how was that?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Anything to get out of a classroom, frankly. Really, really loved it. And it was so it was a boarding school, and it meant I could get out of mass as well. So we had to go to mass run by nuns.
Combination.
Exactly. Anything.
What sort of musicals were you doing at the school? All the classics.
So, yeah. So we did. I played. I played Curly in Oklahoma.
Oh, excellent.
I played Zorro in Viva Mexico.
Oh, that's good. I can see the Zorro, Aideen. That's rather good. Yes. And in a sense, that level of swashbuckling maybe helps us as we move forward with our plans for the Three Musketeers. You can draw on your Zorro.
Valuable research indeed. But I think the role that really I think really convinced me that I wanted to do something to do with performance. Well, I thought it was performance initially. Was I played the King in The King and I. And I remember Sister Catherine was an amazing music teacher, but quite a hard work, frankly. But we all survived her. But she was very talented. But we had this guy come down from Dublin, Tony Barry, and he essentially did the set designs, the lighting, and he did some direction as well. And I remember having lessons with him, and about how to play the king and the attributes that the king would have. And I remember watching Yul Brynner in King and I, so over and over again. And it was just the detail I got into that character was just really special and really amazing at the age of 17. So it was cool. Very cool.
So fundamentally, it was performing that was drawing you then at this point. You were thinking.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to. I thought I wanted to perform, and I suppose when a lot of people see shows, they don't see the lighting first thing, do they? They see a performance on space, and they're able to connect with that person. And then when I left school, I didn't think that drama was a career, frankly, and most of the people that were advising me going, it's not a career, you can't do a job like that. So I listened to them, and then I studied marketing for 2 years.
Did you?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. What, in Dublin?
in Dublin, and I was quite happy to get out of Rathdowney. Lovely town that it is, but it was just a little bit too small.
Yeah. And how did you cope with marketing?
The only thing that kept me going was the psychology. The psychology lecture was really cool, and I was really interested in that. So I found that interesting. But I basically stuck at it just to get a qualification out of it. I then went back and resat my Leaving Cert. You could do that at that time. And then I applied. I was living with 2 art students. And rather than spending time in marketing college, I was hanging out in the art college the whole time. And I was going, now, these are the sort of people I want to hang out with and I want to play with. So I then, as I said, resat my Leaving Cert and then got into drama and theatre in Trinity. And yeah.
Wow. So when is that, a 3-year BA or something? Or?
It's a 4-year.
4-year.
But I did 2 years in Dublin, and then in the 3rd year I did an exchange to London.
Okay.
And went from there. But in the never went back.
But when you were in Dublin and indeed in London, you were still at that point presumably wanting to perform. Was that the case?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I initially went to audition for performance only course, so for an acting courses rather than the course that I ended up doing was a drama and theatre degree, which meant you did all the disciplines. And so you did on stage, off stage, you did all the design elements, stage management, production management, and performance. And then it's there I fell upon lighting design, and I thought, oh, this is quite interesting.
It's really interesting you talk about that period when you suddenly discover it, because I read something you said, and I thought, wow, that's really powerful and quite poetic. I think that I'm quoting this, I hope correctly, but it said, I love this element that was difficult to describe, but emotionally drove straight to the heart. Wow. So it had almost a visceral impact on you, this idea of lighting then.
Yeah, I mean, just when you look at something in work light, or and then if you just turn off the work light and you just put a spotlight on something, it just transforms it, and it's just magic. And I just completely fell in love with it, and I just like the intangibility of it. I also like the process that you can't really, you can have research and you can have images and you can have lots of, but you can't really do it without it. So it's just, it is so, as you say, visceral, and it's just transformative. And people I don't even think realize the effect of what a color shift, a very slow color shift in a scene from whatever color to whatever color. But I think people don't really know and sometimes don't realize the effect of lighting. And you're right. I think it hits you here in your heart.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree. And I think it's sometimes imperceptible what is happening sometimes, as you say, that people are not aware of the effect that's being created. No, so at that point when you have this kind of revelation, I suppose, as you start to encounter lighting, was that the beginning then of a shift potentially away from being on stage to off stage, or did that take more time for that to emerge?
Oh, that nearly happened instantaneously.
Did it?
Yeah. And also I was doing more performance and I was just getting a bit, I don't know, I think as I was doing a bit of both and all the various different disciplines, I was becoming really aware when I was on stage of all the other disciplines, and also, so I was getting distracted while I was performing, which is clearly not a good idea, right?
No, not so good. It's a good indication that maybe your heart lies somewhere else, Aideen.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you'll always have the king in The King and I. So whatever.
Nobody could take that away from me.
Exactly. So once you're kind of leaning more towards that, were you able to start to specialize in that, or did you have to train again, especially for lighting?
Because it's not yesterday when I did that course, there was no lighting design course back then.
Oh, wow. It didn't exist at all.
No. There was lighting design, but there wasn't really a course. Well, there definitely wasn't one in Ireland. There might have been a semblance of some over here in London, but it didn't really exist. So a lot of the designers did what I did, so drama and theatre degree, or a drama and English degree, or drama and something. And
Yeah.
then you got to do modules in lighting design, and you got to do a lot of light a lot of shows. But essentially, yeah, it was more just lighting design was a section or a module in as part of the course. So when I came to London, and probably one of the reasons why I maybe stayed over, is when I was doing my exchange, Paulie Constable was the lighting tutor that came in as a freelancer and ran the whole lighting design course.
Where was this?
This is in Goldsmiths in London.
Goldsmiths. So you meet Paulie, and was that also a seminal moment in a way?
Big time, absolutely. And then I saw her work, and fellow woman, and I just thought, well, gosh, she can do it. Do it.
Well, exactly. You encounter someone, and it gives you kind of not just possibility, but kind of license to do it, doesn't it? To go, okay.
Exactly.
And I think if I think about Paulie's brilliant work, I remember seeing, and we're a similar generation, obviously, but I remember seeing The Amazing Street of Crocodiles, the Complicito show at the National Theatre in, 92 or something. And I hadn't really thought about lighting, really. I hadn't even been directing. I was as a performer. I hadn't crossed that point. But even then, I remember amongst all this astonishing piece of theatre and the part that lighting played in it really affected me, like a bit like you're saying, kind of visceral response when, moments in that show where you thought, wow, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I saw that
her
show.
As a tutor must have been a great experience.
Oh, completely. Absolutely inspirational. But also she was so busy working freelance wise, she brought in amazing other designers. So she brought in Ben Omeroyd, who did a color workshop. I know, what an amazing experience that was. We had Simon Corder come in. We had who else did we have? Anyway, we had just incredible designers, and I was going, oh my God, this is amazing. These people are inspirational.
It's true. And also, I don't know about you, but I always felt as an actor when I was training, I was always, obviously, we had great teachers. Well, not obviously, some of them were good and some weren't so good. But I was always excited when someone who was genuinely working in the industry came in to talk to us or work with us, because it did make a difference, didn't it? When you thought, oh my God, they're doing it. They're not just teaching here. They've got a show on, or they're working on a show. And I think that contact is so powerful when you're starting out, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And their perspective is a little bit different as well. And as you said, they're actually doing it. And if you connect with them, then you make a connection, and then you may even get, I went and worked with Paulie on assisted her on a couple of projects on the back of
brilliant.
Just being one of the students. So, I mean, what an amazing experience.
Exactly. And I suppose that you've answered my next question, which was obviously, I didn't do this, but a lot of people who begin the journey to being a director start assisting. So was that your journey as a lighting designer? You started assisting more established designers?
I actually didn't do I did a little bit of assisting, but I felt there were more like placements, to be honest, initially.
Yeah.
And then I also felt that I needed to learn my craft a little bit more. So actually I went and worked as chief electrician at the place. Once I finished college, I was I was trying some stuff out on the fringe. I was trying, exploring lots of various different things, and I was just struggling a bit financially. So I had to do freelance work at Sadler's Wells, loads of different places, and at the place, and that was great experience. And then I thought, I've got to be chief electrician at the place for a little bit, and I saw incredible international work come through. I fell in love with dance, and I was there for 18 months, and then I went on tour, because I just felt like, okay, I want that experience, and I want to learn more about the craft. And I went on tour for 3.5 years with Akram Khan, which was an amazing experience when he was just starting off.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I was relighting Michael Hulse's design, and then in the latter of that touring period, I basically I designed a show for Akram, and then I toured with that, and then about 3.5 years of touring, I decided, you know what, I'm done with touring. It was a fabulous experience to travel the whole world and managed amazing teams. But I'm ready to do design full time. So that's when I took the plunge to go full time. And yeah, haven't looked back since, really.
No, it's certainly not. And you've done some amazing work, like I said, across all those mediums. And I obviously, we met through dear friend and colleague Michael Vale, because you and with Sally Cookson, and then introduced us and like lots of these things, and then you've started to work, and I've really enjoyed that, both as an actor and a director. But I wanted to ask you, obviously, about your collaboration with Sally, because I know Sally well, but sadly it's never quite happened that we've worked together yet. But I think her of her such a generous, collaborative theatre maker, and you've obviously done a lot with her. How does that relationship, I suppose, play out between you as a lighting designer and Sally as a director? Because you've got such a close, instinctive relationship, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Sally's an amazing collaborator, and the room she has, the feel in the room is just very open. She's so open to lots of things. And the first show I did with her was Jane Eyre.
Yes, which I wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done, several shows with her, as you said. But she had that. I mean, I'm in the room a fair bit. We just talk lots, and she's open to suggestions in the room, of physically how the performers might be in the space, or from a design point of view. And I think it's basically the devised work. I find devised work really exciting, which is why I really enjoy working with you guys as well. But it's and not, I don't think every lighting designer is up for or suits devised work, because the process is so a lot of the stuff comes together towards the last week.
And everything is changing.
Yeah, and with my discipline, you have to get a kit list in, probably a month before the fit up, and then you have to get a plan together probably 2 weeks before. So essentially, you have to come up with a palette of tools that will just work for whatever crops up.
Yeah.
But with Sally, it's just such an open, collaborative process right up until the show opens. And I mean, she's got nerves of steel in previews. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, she'll just change scenes, the order of scenes. She'll do anything. And I remember the first show I did with her, and I was going, oh wow, okay, this is amazing, but also terrifying. And then as I did more and more shows with her, I trusted her invaluably to and I could see, the proof of the pudding from when she does change something, and it's so much better for it.
Yes, no, it's true, isn't it? So much of it is about the trust of something and building that dynamic. And what about the relationship? Obviously, we touched on one designer, Michael, and what about the relationship between the lighting designer and the designer? I know it's very different depending on who that is, but what would you say?
I think no matter who it is, it's a very close relationship. So I would say, the director, the designer, and myself work very closely together. Obviously, there's other collaborators as well. If you have video design, it would be also a core member, and sound design as well. But I think visually, the director, designer, and lighting designer are like so close together. And I would be, particularly on a device project, I'd be working with the designer all the time in the room, problem solving, or figuring out what we're doing or how we're going, moving forward, or solving problems. So it's I mean, I'd be in close contact with them weekly on a project. And I'd be on board the project quite early on. I like to come on board before the white card.
Yes.
So before the design is finished, so that I can work with the designer to figure out that world and how we can light the world that they have created or started with the director.
Yeah, no, all of that makes total sense, and I'm always surprised when what you're describing is not what is practiced. Sometimes I always feel strange when I go, "Wow, everything's been decided," and then people are arriving to try and deliver something. But
Yes.
what would obviously you mentioned the brilliant Paulie Constable, but I'm assuming that when you started out, lighting design was mainly the prevail of men, I would have thought. And do you think that has improved? Do you think that now we see more great opportunities for female women lighting designers?
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of young women, female lighting designers coming through. I went to Profile Awards a couple of weeks ago, and the amount of female lighting designers that were in the room at this award ceremony, I was going, yes, things have really changed.
Brilliant.
I think that's more on the design side of it. On the technical production side of it, it's still a little bit. There's still quite a few. There are quite a few women, but it's still a little bit more male centric. But that is changing as well.
Well, that's good. It's good that things change. That's for sure. Aideen, It's been so lovely chatting to you, and I think really fascinating to get a bit of a insight into how lighting works, I suppose, on a practical level, but also to hear you talk, as I said, quite poetically about it. I find that very engaging. There's something about that I think, oh yeah. And I obviously look forward again to our next collaboration very soon. Now, I always wrap up. It will be. I always bring your Zorro mask. I always finish by asking my guests 7 rapid fire questions. You just have to say the first thing that you want to say, and you can always pass if you can't make your mind up. Number 1, if you had to choose another job and you could only choose between these 2 professions, which would it be? Would you be either a jockey or a chef?
Oh, chef.
Peter Pan or Wendy?
Oh, Peter Pan.
Yeah. Dublin or London?
Oh, that's tricky. It depends on the capacity.
You can pass if you like.
Oh, I've got to say Dublin, for God's sake. Okay. Yes, of course.
Potholing or mountain climbing?
Potholing.
Oh, you're good in enclosed spaces. Very good. Opera or dance?
Dance.
Ice cream sundae or apple pie?
Oh, apple pie.
In a house, I'm thinking about my kitchen at home because we have some conflict around lighting. So I needed to get your view on something. If you went into my kitchen, would you favour spotlights, which are sort of sunk into the ceiling, or a more audacious central light fitting that hangs over the dining room table?
I would go for the audacious central.
Thank you. That is the right answer, Aideen. I will communicate that back to my family. Thank you.
Excellent.
I can say it comes with some authority and many years of experience in lighting. Aideen,
and you can also say that the ones in the ceiling, they tend to overheat, so you don't want that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. A practical concern as well as aesthetic. I'm going to use both of those over the weekend. Aideen, it's been lovely chatting as ever, and I look forward to catching up in the room with you very soon. Have a lovely summer.
Thanks, Paul. You too.
Bye,
see you in Musketeers.
Yes, indeed. Take care.
Bye.
Dear listeners, if you've enjoyed this idiot podcast, please spread the word